And last but not least, if you want your corn knee-high by July, better get the plant, boys.
I make my living off the land.
This corn's beautiful.
With aching back and callous pain.
A lot of things gotta go right yet.
The old man said you reap what you sow.
This could be some pretty phenomenal numbers.
Out here in these fields of gold.
Why it's called yellow gold.
I work harder, I get the job done, yeah, I'm a farmer. I don't back down no matter what comes my way.
Crazy year, right?
I'm an early riser, an all-nighter. Call me plowboy, yeah, I'm a fighter. Ain't gonna stop till they put me in my grave.
It's gonna be a fun year.
I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior.
This episode of Corn Warriors is presented by Pivot Bio.
Corn Warriors crew's out. We're picking a little bit of contest corn today, so just shucking some of these ears back and checking, the evenness. We always look at placement, pollination, which was pretty good on this. We didn't quite get it all like that one there, but this one's pretty good. Rows around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 16 rows around, but sometimes you can get a little bit too pent up in whether it's 16 or 20 around. If you have a lot wider kernel on a 16, it can be just as good as a 20 around. Kernel size has a lot to do with yield, and that's what we try to push a little bit, is get good kernel size. As you can see, try to keep the ears consistent, or the plants consistent. I think we started here and went to right here. We do not have one ear in that section that I would call an off ear. That's very important, consistency for high yields. I think we're running about 22-23% on the moisture. We would have liked to got to this a little bit quicker, but we were harvesting some other stuff, and we had a really dry week last week, and this stuff dried down even a little bit more than I thought it would.
Yeah, I think the advantage of those guys down the south is they fill grain when it's warmer.
Right.
So I don't know if it's plants able to produce more photosynthesis that time of year.
Yeah. We got more sunshine for longer hours.
Yeah. So
Mm.
they get bigger kernels. Kernel depth is pretty good, isn't it, overall?
Yeah. Not that I haven't seen bigger probably, but it's pretty good. That dry August really smoked things around here.
I love this time of year. It's like Christmas. You get to go in the field and look and see what you get. So we're out here looking at AgriGold 6499. Some would say that that's an older hybrid, but I think that it's an oldie but goodie. You can't mess this hybrid up. You can plant it anywhere. It gets tall here because we have such high fertility. We have good stalk strength. If you give these guys a push, they're not going anywhere. I always want standability. I want yield, but I want standability. I never ever sell anything to a customer with any chance of having it fall down. Farmers do not like to pick corn that is laying down. So I do not like questionable stalk quality. Dan's an oldie but goodie too.
All right, so the way I check for field loss or yield loss, let's come back here a little bit. I always check the outer row, and I look into the next row, because if you got any coming over the chopper, it will break apart on the cobs and throw it into the next row. So that's what, I always come to the outside here and look for any kernels, and there's one. If we had our bushel plus on, which we don't have here today, we use the bushel plus method, which is where they have that pan that drops, magnetic pan that drops behind the combine, and then you go back and you can check for your yield loss within that pan. That's a pretty handy way to do it also. Today I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way, just checking by hand. And then I just kind of work my way back and look for kernels, as I don't see really any there. You know, you make sure all your cobs are threshed and you don't see any in the fodder. Overall, I found a couple kernels, but you pretty much always find a couple. We're doing a real good job there. There isn't very many, so the amount of 300 bushel corn, if we're losing a couple here or there, that's about as good as you can usually get. We like to get it to nothing, but it's really, you gotta really crawl to do that.
No matter what the weather throws at us, Pivot Bioproven is harnessing what is naturally within the soil, making nitrogen available to the plant.
Where I applied Pivot Bioproven, the average across the whole field was about a 5 to 6 bushel an acre benefit.
And we know that large rain events are not going to leach that nitrogen out into our water.
It gives you kind of that peace of mind that you're going to have 25 to 40 pounds of nitrogen that's there and safe.
To make this a financially and environmentally sustainable business.
Today's October 1st. We are here running corn at the Ferndale Atley farm. Just getting started. We got about 260 acres of beans cut, about 100 acres of corn cut. So still trying to work out the bugs of everything, get everything calibrated, up and going. Been fighting a bunch of gremlins. Been an up and down year emotionally. We've gone from floods to drought to heat stress to being cold. We've had it all pretty much in 1 year. So our grain buggies are 5 scaled grain carts. Last year we was 0.003% off of everything. We make sure we take the time and keep everything calibrated, because when we have this many tests that we're doing all the time, we have to make sure that it's good data going in. So what you're feeling here is how wet it was when we planted. That's the planter turning on the ends. Can you hear me, Matt? You on the radio? You'll be the 3rd load at Campbell's.
Copy, 3rd load at Campbell's.
Shane, if you can hear me, this will be enough for you. Copy.
Gotcha.
This is our small crew. Once we get rolling, hauling it right out of the field, we bring in another trucking company. Well, sometimes I bring as many as 9 semis. We run with our 5. So we'll have 14 semis rolling just to keep 2 combines going. This tested 28.2 right here.
28.2?
How much do you need? Do you want to use this tester?
Can we just get a little bit?
Yeah.
No, we'll
just
take yours is right, run it through there, and
That's
see
fine.
if the
See where you're at.
machine's running right.
Okay. You probably need more now for your tester, probably.
Everything going okay?
It's ranging anywhere from 23 to 28. You know, in this green spot here, it's more at
Right.
28.
No, that's
so.
what we saw, that a lot of green there. So
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little wetter.
22.
That's what we thought too.
We planted the same day.
Yeah.
You guys planted on the 12th or
that's
13th, and this was planted the 13th.
With fungicide.
This is 110. There's 5073 here.
So it's higher than we're reading. But that's why we're checking.
Yeah.
Sounds
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I know mine's accurate. They don't. They don't. That's why they came over here. So we certify them once a year. So as long as they don't move, they stay level, they're good. Just trying to form a line of rain. Been waiting all year long for it to rain. We never got it, so surely as soon as we start harvesting, it's decided it's gonna rain. Shouldn't be enough rain though to stop us since we're in corn. Hopefully not. What'd you do?
I don't know.
No, you took off with it still on the tire. We seen it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, you gotta make sure you got air pressure built up.
I thought there was.
You didn't see it smoking? Oh, you peeled it up from there? You're gonna get somebody killed.
That was all my fault.
We gotta get another tire on that side to match it. I'm disappointed in my test weight. I think that really blew the top end off. I know I'm not as good as Kevin when it comes to test weight. So if I'm struggling, I'm curious to see if he powers through it, or I know he's been dry. Because if he goes 400 plus, it's gonna be tough to catch. Every year is a solid chance with him. There's your rain. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Feeder house drive bell. When you got good corn with a lot of stalk, you go through these more often. Drive the whole corn head. Now I should have one on the damn truck. I got a guy actually from the John Deere store coming out, make sure to get it back. So we gotta wait a little bit. This wind sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, this is Mississippi. This is where we have the drip at. This farm is irrigated with a drip irrigation system, but I don't have quite enough water to satisfy all the acres here, so I have to start slowing it down when I start getting low on water, so I don't get quite the water out that I need. I either have to just sacrifice some or try to give all of it, delegate it, I guess you say. Both crops for my babies, and I hate to shut off the water to one of them, you know, to keep the other one alive, so both of them get partial. But it's way better than not having it at all. I mean, the field we were just in, I got into a couple areas where there wasn't any water, and it was 100 bushel or less. Where we did have water, so in the 300 bushel range, so big, big difference. The other night, we had a little mishap with shake back the cart into the semi. Yeah, and the semi is no longer functional. Oh, he's usually careful. He just made a little lack of communication between him and David, and told him to back up so he could get up and check something on the spout, and the cart was a little crooked. Next thing you know, the cart was into the door of the semi. Well, we ordered a new door. It'll be here in a couple days. Well, David's had several problems. He about cut half the bottom of his thumb off. He got caught in a sickle when we were installing the sickle. So that was the first thing, and then last night we got his foot caught while the door was being smashed against it. So he's limping a little bit. It didn't break anything. It squeezed him pretty bad. He's had a rough couple of weeks. This is part of that same windstorm that went through Iowa that knocked everything down. In areas of the field that don't have irrigation, you don't have as healthy of plants, and this is the result. Where we have irrigation, stuff is standing okay. So another thumbs up for irrigation. So we were just getting out, seeing how bad it was. We're gonna get back in here. We had some stuff in the 300 range, and 22, 23%. I thought we were going to get up 350 on some of it this year. It looks like 350 bushel corn, but because we haven't got the weights back yet to see what it is, but missed the mark the way it looks. Still really good corn for the year, but we thought we were going to have a little bit more. But we always say that. Everybody always wants a little more, right? It's American way to want a little bit more. After the season had started, we learned about Veltima from BASF. After talking to our local reps, kind of convinced us to use that, and really glad we did. Did a good job holding up the health in our corn, keeping the tar spot out. Definitely kept the tar spot out longer than some neighboring fields that we've seen that were sprayed or not sprayed. Real happy with that product. I'm sure we're going to continue to use that in the future. All right, we got to decide whether we're shutting down or keeping going here. I have to save the rest of them for tomorrow. So we got to move to Mississippi 3, keep going, or quit. What's everybody's vote?
Bad weather coming for a while.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, we're going to move to Mississippi 3.
I didn't vote yet.
What's your vote?
Let's keep going.
So we can't get to calibrate. So we're trying to do it at a higher speed, and he's 3% off, which that's a lot. He's 3% off on the weight, which is ultimately your yield. So we're gonna get Doug Weichel in the combine. He's our ag leader specialist. He's our Mr. Fix-It when it comes to pretty much everything on this farm right now.
I'm originally from St. Mary's, Ontario, Canada. I knew my boss, Carl, Cory's dad, since I was 16. And this field here is the boss's house, his pride and joy, so we're out here trying to get it off for him before the rain comes. And they're calling for rain today. They haven't called for rain in 3 months, and all of a sudden now we're getting rain all the time. On this field here, we're on our third lap of 4, so we plant with 36 row, 60-foot planter. So you do 2 laps around with the planter, and then so you can go up and down, get the planter turned around. So we're on lap 3 right now of the combine, 18 rows at a time. So we got 1 more lap, but hopefully we can get it in because the weather's not looking real favorable here. The wind's picking up, the sky's turning black. We got a few raindrops on the windshield, so hopefully Mother Nature holds off till at least a couple more hours so we can get a good amount in. Keep the dryers going all night. I do the combining and I also run the dryers. So I've been challenged with the dryers this year. You know, they sat since last fall. Today I was out on a call, had one of the dryers wouldn't start, one of the sensors went bad. So I fixed it and now I'm back in the combine. Actually, it's kind of nice today because with 1 combine, I got 2 buggies. I can constantly keep rolling without having to share a buggy with another combine. So we got the combine running. It's running great right now. So earlier there, I think you guys were flying by and I was stopped. I threw a gathering chain on some weeds. It kind of got underneath and kicked the chain off. So that's the little things you got to put up with. You know, I've been here on this farm since I was 19. Been doing it ever since. Couldn't imagine waking up doing anything else. I mean, I just look forward to my job. I love everything I do. I love the new adventure. Farming every year is a new adventure. Every day is a new adventure.
So the corn we're running here is averaging 25% moisture. Our perfect scenario would be 23%. The phantom yield loss is definitely a real thing. We've tested it for over 5 years. The difference between 23% moisture corn and letting it dry down in the field naturally to 16 to 17% is on average has been 18 bushel an acre. So we'd rather capture that. We're on all natural gas. We can dry it really, really cheap. We have 80,000 bushels in 2 locations that we can have for wet storage and keep the dryers fed. We got a 3rd location with another 30,000 wet bushel bin space with another dryer. So we're definitely able to run this high moisture corn and still keep it cost effective. And this year we have 5,200 acres of corn. We have 3,200 acres of beans. So when we're trying to get all 5,200 acres of corn ran before the snow comes, we got to be able to pick early. But if we use on propane and different things like that, the math definitely changes, but it's just the way that we're set up. So we had a pretty good year going all year long. We had as much patience as we possibly could, you know, waiting for the soil temperature to get right, you know, air temperature, just everything to warm up and try to dry up the best we could before we planted. It was already getting dry, but we was getting some timely rains, and then once that corn reached about R1 going into R2, the water shut off and we haven't seen it. We've been underneath the moderate drought on the drought watch here. Just our little pocket, you know, and that's kind of been the story for a lot of places. I know it's just not Ohio, but you know, there's been places that just can't buy rain. Some places have been getting tremendous amount of rain. We got some farms south of town that they haven't seen an inch of rain since the end of July. I still think it's going to be a decent crop. What we're already shelling now, the test weight's definitely showing that it really could have used some more water. If you don't have water, you better have food for it. So this crop's been eating about everything that it possibly can out of the soil just to stay alive. Big concern for us though is going to be sustainability, the stalk quality. Once again, it's just hasn't had water, so it's, you know, it's taking all the nutrients out of the soil, and then eventually it's just going to start eating itself. And once it does that, it won't stand. And just right here in front of us, there's just a little clay knob, and corn's already flat. You know, nothing like having 20% moisture corn that's already down. But that's kind of the bear. When you have a real hot and dry year, at the end we just couldn't finish out.